It seems like one of the most common issues for homeowners is when a guest arrives unannounced with their pets. And I get it, I've dealt with it lots before. It can be really annoying knowing that somebody has blatantly broken your rules. So how do you prevent this from happening, all the while avoiding poor reviews? Today's video is designed to help you navigate through this like a pro. My name's Norm, I run Duchesne Hospitality Services. We're a consulting and training company geared towards vacation rentals and hotels. If you find this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and you can find the link to my website in the description below. With that being said, let's get started. Your first step to pet prevention is proactive pre-arrival information. There are two places to make this readily available for your guests to understand that there is a clear no pet policy at your unit. First off is when you describe the amenities in your unit on your OTA like Airbnb or VRBO. And the second is in your first communication directly with the guest. When you send your guests their confirmation, you should always include clear wording that your unit doesn't allow for pets. And in follow-up conversation, you should always remind them when their arrival date is approaching. Whether you have your guests sign off on an electronic registration form or you just send them their arrival information on Airbnb chat, sending them information close to their arrival date always helps to reinforce the message that your unit doesn't allow for pets. You should also include any penalties for non-compliance. These two steps will stop most, but not all guests from arriving with pets in your pet-free unit. It's also important that you don't monitor their every step. If you're actively looking to see if your guests are breaking the rules, but you have no reason to believe that they are, you're going to eventually end up disappointed. Listen, there are always going to be people who are trying to skirt around the rules. Whether it helps make them feel better about themselves, if they're just trying to avoid your pet fee, if there is no other pet-friendly accommodation available in town, everybody has their own prerogative. You know, they might have gotten away with it at another property, but that does not excuse their behavior. However, it doesn't just give you the green light to monitor their every step. Don't review the cameras for no reason. Like I said earlier, you'll just end up disappointed by one guest eventually. It's a waste of your time and energy. You could have spent your time doing much more productive things, and it just adds unnecessary stress and an extra layer that you don't need to deal with. So if you do find that there's a pet in your pet-free accommodation, it's important that you remain calm and collected. Let's say, for example, you live really nearby to your unit, for example, next door, and you see your guests departing their car and a dog comes out of the back seat. What are you supposed to do in that situation? You might feel the need or the want or desire to immediately go up and approach the guest while you're all hot and angry and really have a lot of emotion in, but I do not recommend going in this state of mind. It's important for you to take a minute, calm yourself down, and recollect your thoughts before approaching the situation. Going in angry will just escalate things, and nobody wants that, and you're just asking for a bad review. So you're going to approach the situation calmly with the effort to de-escalate. Gently reminding them of the pet policy, which if you follow the first two steps, they should be aware of, and allowing them to respond is a really good first step. It's also possible that there was a misunderstanding. For example, it's possible that the animal that they're traveling with is not actually a pet, but a service animal. And service animals are not considered pets, they're working animals. Note that service animals have different rights that other animals, such as emotional support dogs, therapy dogs, other animals like that, don't have, and are usually covered by federal law. So what do you do if a guest is checked out and you go in there and you notice that, oh my goodness, there's damages, you know, maybe the dog has peed on the floor or they've scratched up the wall. What are some steps that you can take while avoiding a poor review? You have the right to request compensation for damages to your short-term rental if an animal has caused damages. It's important that you take pictures and submit clear documentation of the damages that were caused. You can submit a claim to Airbnb on AirCover or directly to the guests. And most importantly, do not fear poor reviews. One of the main reasons that guests are afraid to deal with pets in their pet-free accommodation is for fear of getting a poor review, like a 1 or a 2 star. However, this mindset is a bit silly and you should never fear poor reviews. If a guest has written back to you with a list of complaints for compensation after you've approached them about, the pet fee that you're going to be charging them, or if they say, oh, well, we're going to write you a poor review if you request money back. If a guest is trying to blackmail you or extort money due to your request for compensation due to pet damages, you should report them to the website that they booked on as soon as possible. VRBO, Airbnb, and other booking sites usually have content guidelines expressly prohibiting extortion or threatening language from both guests or owners for money, compensation, or other consideration. If you feel that you're the victim of extortion, it's important that you report that as soon as possible. Even if the guest is still staying in your unit and threatening you with a poor review, most OTAs like Airbnb or VRBO will allow you to submit a claim ahead of time and will actively monitor your listing, waiting for their review to come in, and in most cases will be able to review it before it even goes online. So those are a few quick tips to dealing with pets in your pet-free accommodation. Have you ever had to deal with this issue in the past? How have you dealt with it? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, happy hosting.